Let's rewind the clock. The year is 2014. The San Antonio Spurs just played some of the most beautiful basketball the world had ever seen and walked away with their 5th ring. Blake Griffin was still dunking on your favorite center's soul, Dwayne Wade was still in a Heat jersey, and LeBron James had yet to return home. Kobe was still lacing him up, Carmelo Anthony was still putting up 28 a night at the Garden, and we were all still arguing about who was better, KD or Bron. Feels like a different era, right? Almost like it belongs to another lifetime. But here's a fun question. Who do you think sold the most NBA jerseys that year? Was it LeBron? Melo? Kobe? Or maybe even Derrick Rose? If you guessed LeBron James, you'd be right. And you'd be right again in 2015. Then Steph Curry entered his villain arc, dropped the greatest offensive season we'd ever seen, and took the crown. But after that, it was Steph and Bron, back and forth for nearly a decade. That's it. That's your short list of the NBA's true faces. Until now. Because for the first time in forever, the league doesn't have a clear heir to the throne. We have talent, generational talent, but no chosen one, no crown prince. Just a bunch of incredibly gifted young players, all trying to wear shoes that might be too big to fill. And for the NBA, that's a real problem. Because whether we admit it or not, the league thrives on identity, on mythology, on faces. Jordan wasn't just a player, he was basketball. Kobe carried the torch. Then LeBron ran with it for 2 decades. And Steph changed the geometry of the game itself. But now we're looking around and asking, who's next? Today, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're going to break down the truth about every so-called future face of the NBA, what they bring to the table, what they're missing, and why the throne still sits empty, waiting for someone bold enough and great enough to claim it. Let's begin. Tyrese Halliburton is the guy everyone thought would be the guy, especially if you're into analytics. The Indiana Pacers guard doesn't just make the game look easy, he makes it look like a math equation that only he knows how to solve. He can split a defense with a flick of the wrist, toss a lob to a rolling big before you even realize the pick was set, and drill pull-up threes like he's playing horse against the laws of physics. When he's healthy, he's among the most efficient offensive engines in basketball. And for a moment, just a brief moment, it felt like the league was ready to hand him the keys to the future. But here's the problem. Being the face of the NBA isn't about having the cleanest stat sheet. It's about dominance, fear, moments, impact. And for all of Halliburton's skill, he doesn't have that take over the game and leave scorched earth behind you gene. LeBron could. Kobe could. Steph still does. Even when the numbers were down, you felt them on the court. You feared what they might do next. Tyrese? He'll run an offense smoother than silk, but he's not keeping GMs up at night. Not yet. Then came the injury, that Achilles, the one that's derailed legends, humbled icons. And while we all hope for a full recovery, because let's be real, the league is better with Tyrese healthy, the history books don't lie. Achilles injuries have stolen more from players than any defender ever could. Just ask Kobe. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. Indiana was surging. They had the momentum, the energy. The city was behind them. And now, their window may already be closing. Miles Turner is gone. The roster will soon get expensive. And the East is not slowing down for anyone. The truth is, you can't be the face of the NBA if you're not on the court. And even if you are, you've got to bring more than just beautiful numbers. You've got to bring fear, grit, fire. Halliburton still got time, but the road just got a whole lot steeper. Cade Cunningham was supposed to be the light at the end of Detroit's long, dark tunnel. The number 1 pick, a 6'6" floor general with poise, power, and polish that made you think, This guy's different. He could manipulate defenses like a veteran at 19, absorb contact like a running back, and still drop dimes that would make Chris Paul proud. You watch him for 2 minutes and it's clear. Cade has it. That old school, give me the ball and I'll figure it out energy wrapped in a new school skill set. But the league isn't built for patience anymore. And Cade, he's stuck in the wrong era. An era that demands flash, virality, and instant gratification. The league today doesn't wait for greatness to bloom, it scrolls past it if it's not dunking from the free throw line or pulling up from 40. And worse, Cade hasn't even been on the floor enough to remind anyone how good he is. In just 3 seasons, he's missed over a third of all possible games. Not because he's soft, not because he doesn't want it, but because the basketball gods have a twisted sense of humor, and Detroit can't catch a break. Even when he is playing, Cade's brilliance is often buried under 20-point losses and local radio silence. Because let's honestly, being a star in Detroit, Michigan is like screaming into the void. You could average 28, 8, and 8 and still get less airtime than a Laker role player with a good haircut. To be the face of the NBA, you need a platform. You need a stage. Cade's stuck in a franchise that hasn't sniffed relevancy since Chauncey Billups wore a headband and Rasheed Wallace was shouting, "Ball don't lie." And sure, maybe Cade can change that. Maybe he can drag Detroit back into the spotlight the same way Dame did for Portland or Giannis did for Milwaukee. But here's the difference. Those guys played. They won. They were available. Cade's been a myth, a rumor, a highlight on a Tuesday night that no one watches because the Pistons are 13-49. It's not his fault, but it's his reality. And unless something dramatic changes, a clean bill of health, a superstar teammate, a playoff run that shocks the world, Cade Cunningham is going to be remembered as the guy who had everything, except the moment to prove it. There's never been a rookie like Victor Wembanyama, not LeBron, not Shaq, not Kareem. No one. The NBA has seen phenoms before, but not like this. A 7'4" alien with an 8-foot wingspan, handles like a guard, footwork like a ballerina, and instincts like a veteran. Wemby didn't just walk into the NBA, he invaded it. And in his very first season, he casually outperformed the rookie year stats of legends. More points than LeBron, more rebounds than Dwight, more blocks than Hakeem, more threes than Steph. That's not hype. That's a statistical anomaly wearing a Spurs jersey. But here's the problem with being an alien. Aliens don't last long on Earth. And the truth about Wembanyama, the part no one wants to say out loud, is that his time might be running on a mortal clock.